Hi Captains, I'm David and welcome to Captain Finance, where we help you captain your finance so you can live the life you truly deserve. Now, did you know as adults we have a report card? Yeah. But remember when you were in high school, when you're in primary school and probably even in university, there was a report card that came at the end of the term or the semester that stated how well you performed in that 3 months or 6 months. But as adults, what actually measures that? So for most of us, we have no idea. After we were done with university, we stopped measuring our performance. And some people might say yes, paycheck might be a good measure. But a holistic way of looking at it is, have you ever heard of something called a cash flow statement? So a cash flow statement shows you how much you're making, how much you're expensing, and how much you remain with. And then a balance sheet shows you assets and liabilities. And for the sake of this series, we will define assets as anything that puts money in your pocket, and liabilities anything that takes money out of your pocket. Irrespective of how you want to define it, as long as you give something that tag, you should be ahead of about 95% of the population. So having looked at your adult financial statement or your report card, what information should you get out of it? So there are 3 kinds of adults. There's rich, there's poor, and there's middle class. Now, typically we're told that the middle class are people, say in Kenya, earning 100,000 and above per month. This is a bit twisted because how much you make doesn't really define what class you're in. And I'll show you how. So let's look at the cash flow statement of a poor person. So a poor person has income, so they make money however they make it. And they have expenses, meaning living expenses and all that is charged monthly. On their balance sheet, they have no assets, so they have nothing that cash flows for them. And on liabilities, they don't have any liabilities. So all the money that comes in at the beginning of the month is expensed, and they wait for the next month for cash. So that's the cash flow statement of a poor person. Now, realize this can be someone that's earning 1,000 bob a month, a meter a month, 10 million Kenya shillings a month, or even 100 million Kenya shillings a month. It doesn't matter the amount of money. But as long as whatever you're making and whatever you're expensing nets off at say around 0 or such, your cash flow statement would fall under the poor category. Now, what does the cash flow statement of the middle class look like? So the middle class is anyone that has income, has expenses, and tends to have liabilities that they call assets. So early on in say 1998, a guy called Robert Kiyosaki introduced the idea that your house is not an asset. And for a very long time, the entire financial industry laughed at him. Around 2007, 2008, his idea was actually proven correct, because the housing crisis that happened in the US proved to people that your house is not an asset. So the middle class have doodads or flossets, say cars, houses, that don't necessarily cash flow. So they call them assets, but we'll call them liabilities for now. Okay? On their asset column, they have nothing. They have no businesses, they have no bonds that cash flow, they have nothing that brings in cash without them having to exchange time for money. And then finally, the cash flow statement of a rich person. So how does that look like? Now, rich can be anything. It can be even someone earning 10,000. Again, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that really matters. So a rich person's cash flow looks like he has income, he has expenses, but he has assets that cash flow into income and covers his expenses. He might have liabilities, but his assets can cover his expenses. So our person is rich. So even if your expenses are 30,000 a month and you have assets that can cash flow 31,000 a month, you should be described as independent, going towards rich. Now, having said this, the idea of being rich as 100 million Kenya shillings or 10 million Kenya shillings or a B should be broken by now. The reason I say this is it's achievable even within ranges of less than 100,000. If you look at the financial statements or adult report card as a basis of that. So, I'll come to the end. I'd like to know something from you though. Out of the 3 report cards that I've told you about, where do you currently see yourself? And where would you like to see yourself, say, in the next year to 5 years? So leave me a comment below. I'll really appreciate that. And then do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get alerted to our next videos. Alright, until the next one, see you.